Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope you're doing really well in this moment in time, and that whenever and wherever you happen to be in this electrified field matrix that we happen to be living in, that you are able to discern your electromagnetic field, your personal electrical field. I woke up this morning with this idea, so I'm doing the show very early today because it just started pouring out of me. I wrote it all down, of course, and I did not want to forget it because I definitely wanted to share it with you. Now, all week we've been going over many different things that can help you energetically get through these days and through this month. And 30 days equals a whole full year of spiritual growth, as you recall. So this week has already been like 2 months worth of spiritual growth. If you were paying attention, if you were choosing the growth, if you were choosing not to grow, then that's also a choice. And if you didn't know about it, that's okay. Just pick the best possible energy every day that you possibly can. And there you have it. So this is what came to me today. As above, so below. As below, so above. The sun has an electromagnetic field that has been weakened of late because of the solar minimum that is happening right now. And usually the sun has a very powerful force field that's electric, and it literally covers all the way to Pluto, or at least almost to Pluto, and it protects us from cosmic radiation, protects us from magnetars and, when stars go supernova and all that kind of stuff. Some of that cosmic radiation still gets through, but the sun's electromagnetic field protects us from most of it. It's like a father in the sky, a grandfather shielding the young ones from the radiation, right? And then it sparks our electromagnetic field of Earth. And that is the mother, our Mother Earth, also shielding her children and protecting us from cosmic radiation, right? So all of these things normally work in conjunction so that we can be relatively safe. Some still gets through, but it's not that big of a deal. But we've lost our protections. They're very, very weak right now. The electromagnetic field of the sun, the electromagnetic field of the earth. There's like a big crack in the magnetosphere of Earth, and all kinds of cosmic radiation are getting through. And what are you doing? What am I doing? Because I'm just as guilty as you are. We're on our phones all day. What am I recording on? An electronic device. What do we live in? Houses with electricity. We live in and around and near all kinds of electric force fields that actually can harm us and damage our own electromagnetic force field. And so the first things that God was telling me the moment I woke up today, because I live my life connected with the great divine, and I'm always getting these fabulous insights about life and love and health and everything you can imagine. And the first thing he told me was, you need to spend 2 to 3 days away from your electronic devices, lights off, so electricity is not running in the lines of your house, and that there's a visualization, like an imagination thing you could play out in your mind that will actually help your force field, right? Because when you imagine and visualize, that's the first step to making it real in this world. You can't think of something, or you can't make something without first thinking of something. So when you first think of this is what's going to help you. And this is what he said. Imagine a platform or visualize a platform beneath you, like a round disc, maybe. You're standing on it, and put all your love and energy, and imagine it's an electrical force field, your electromagnetic force field that is going to protect you from outside influences. It's going to protect your chakras. It's going to protect your aura. It's going to protect your psyche. It's going to protect your mental body, your Pepsi. It's going to protect your physical body, emotional body, psychological body, and your spiritual body of your individual. So, Pepsi. And so you stand on the platform, and as you stand on the platform, you imagine that you can manipulate it. You could pull it up. Now, you could literally physically do the exercise with your hands. Might feel a little bit more real for you, but this is what he told me. You imagine that it's like a pair of pants that you're standing on top of, and you pull it up like a pair of pants. And imagine that it's really there for you, and it's going to protect everything. And you ask for your angels to be sent from heaven to heal your electromagnetic field, your force field, right? You can ask God, please send angels to help me with this as well, especially if you're having a problem with the imagining or the visualization of this. Couldn't get that word out. So you pull it up like a pair of pants, and then once it's reached your waist, you can start imagining that it's like a sleeping bag or a cocoon, and then you can just put it around your whole body, including your head, and then zip it all the way up to the top, like you're inside a cocoon, okay? And imagine or visualize that this is protecting you from outside influences, such as other people's bad thoughts, electromagnetic fields from cell phone towers, and cell phones and tablets and computers and televisions. And it's necessary if you could go a couple days a week electric free, at least at night. Don't sleep with your phones next to your head. Don't sleep with night light on. If you could do 2 or 3 nights a week without anything electricity involved, that's better for your own personal electromagnetic field. So, all right, he says, you will be changed still by cosmic radiation. Now, trust me on that. The DNA changes are still coming. But you can also repair your electromagnetic energy field as well, because the changes are going to come no matter what. You can't stop it. It's like a damn freight train. It's still coming. Another thing that you can do to protect and change and give more energy to your electromagnetic field, is to go outside in nature, walk around among the green stuff. Also, while you're sleeping away from your electronic devices, you're also going to want to stop anything to do with heating pads and electric blankets. I know they're tempting in the winter when it's cold, but trust me on this. This is really bad for your electromagnetic field. This has been linked to cancer when you are unable to protect yourself in other ways. In your electromagnetic field, apparently, what I'm understanding from today's information, it's like our first line of defense against, for example, psychic attack. So we want to make sure that this is also intact and in place and healthy, okay? So go on the electric diet for a couple 2 to 3 times a week for a few hours, 8 hours to 12 hours, 24 if you can manage it. But even if you just do it for like 6 hours a night, 8 hours a night, just while you're sleeping, that's going to absolutely help you. Now, what does your electromagnetic force field do for you once you strengthened it? Once you have strengthened this energy field, it's going to increase your vitality. Your aura is going to bounce back. You're going to feel and look more alive. And you're going to begin to repair your own energy field when you do these exercises. So what I wrote here was, we may need to do this for some time, as there is no telling how long the electromagnetic field around the planet and the electromagnetic field around the sun will be down. Which is happening, of course, to allow energy from the cosmos to penetrate the toughest of souls that desperately are in need of waking up spiritually. So everything has its place, everything has its reason for being, but this is the big energy news that came to me today, the moment I woke up. You know, I'm recording this at noon or afternoon, because I had to wait for the spaceweather.com website to be updated. Otherwise, I would have recorded this 2 hours, maybe 3 hours ago. I woke up at 9 a.m. and I was just jonesing, chomping at the bit to get this information to you, because, oh my God, really good information, right? I like the idea of zipping it up like one of those sleeping bags, the Arctic, sub-below freezer sleeping bags that you could zip up over your head and your face, and it looks like a cocoon. If you could just imagine that, and that it's an energy field that's protecting you from people's dirty looks and bad words and meanness, and their psychic attacks, and that you are also simultaneously repairing and helping your aura, your Pepsi, your chakras, I can't use that word right now. Okay. But it's going to help you, and then it's going to help you inside, and your emotional body and mental body, you're going to feel better. Your astral, spiritual, light body, you're going to feel better. So, it's like pretty exciting stuff, right? Actually. So I wanted to get into, let me see if I can find my glasses here. Okay. I wanted to get into the astrology now that Mars has gone retrograde. I had yesterday queued up the website, the Astrology King, and this morning I looked at it as well to make sure that it's there, but we're going to check it out. Where are we? Yeah, Mars retrograde. Here we go. So, Astrology King. That's just astrologyking.com. Mars retrograde started yesterday. It's slowing down, and it starts in 28 degrees Aries with the retrograde slowdown, and ends on November 13th, again with the number 13, at 15 degrees Aries. Now, Mars retrograde can generally be frustrating because it tends to hinder your self-expression and makes it harder to fulfill your passionate desires. Mars retrograde 2020 is even more frustrating than normal because of Mars square Saturn. Oh, well, just freaking great. Saturn is a planet, of course, of limitation, where Mars is just that powerful energy of, yes, I could do it. Now it's going backwards. So is that, no, I can't. I mean, I don't know what that means, but that's the way I interpret it. Okay, let's read the king of astrology here. He says the delays and restrictions caused by Mars square Saturn will drag out because this aspect lasts for nearly 2 months. And with so many planets in retrograde motion at the moment, really, I have shuddered to think about that. I just haven't really looked. But okay. The world will appear to slow down. Ah, great. More detail about Mars retrograde 2020 follows, and here's some general info on Mars retrograde in transit. So, all right. And if you have this in your natal chart, you could go to astrologyking.com to get more scoop on that. All right, Mars retrograde transit. Mars retrograde in transit is a regular cycle that occurs every 25 months. Are you freaking kidding me right now? It happened to be in 2020. It happens every 25 months. Wow. It takes more than 2 years, and this just happens to be the year. Anyway, and it lasts for 80 days. You're killing me, Smalls. And it spans 13 degrees of the zodiac. It is the second rarest of the retrogrades right after Venus. Great. And it only occurs 9% of the time. Transiting Mars retrograde is a time for thinking before acting. Fated events, I thought that said F-rated. Like, excuse me. I started to say F-rated and then it said fated, and I thought, I better tell you guys that because that's kind of funny. Fated events and repeating themes will reinforce which of your strong desires need more background work before being acted upon. Oh, okay, so when Lucifer Morningstar walks up and says, tell me, what is it you truly desire? You're going to have to go, okay, I'll think about it for a while. Before I say anything. I don't know if you guys watch Lucifer. It's one of my favorite shows. I even ordered a hoodie. It should be here in 2 months. I'm so excited. Oh my God. It's him where he's walking this big, huge white angel wings, but in his nice black suit. And the rest of the hoodie is red, of course. It's actually amazing. Okay. I love that show for sure. Okay. Anyway, back to our show. Okay. All right, so, all right, okay. Mars retrograde means that whatever area of sexuality or decisive action you are developing is so important that extra time is needed to take stock and make sure everything is in order before you continue. Well, as a Virgo, it's easy for me, right? I mean, I have to have everything in order anyway before I could even consider that. But okay, that's fine. Now everyone, welcome to my world, guys. This is going to be for everybody. Oh my God. Before you jump in the sack with someone, you got to make sure everything's in order first. Yes. Okay. Fated events may occur that could be painful, but are needed so that you back off and you don't make a major mistake. It is also possible that you have struggled with destructive Mars behaviors like anger, rage, violence, or sexual abuse. If so, the retrograde phase will bring fated events that force you to admit that you have some anger management issues. Great. This could, too, be a very painful experience for you. By the time Mars stations direct, you should have come to terms with the relevant issues. The contemplative stage is over, and you are ready to come out of your shell and confidently assert and act on your desires. I hope that doesn't mean everyone in the world's going to go on a fucking rage fest. We don't fucking rage fest 2020. And we don't mean rage as in rave and woohoo, but rage and anger fest 2020. We don't freaking need this. We don't freaking need this year. Oh my God. Which one of you said, what next 2020? What else she got? Because guess what? This is what she got. Mars retrograde 2020. Okay, well, it stations retrograde on the 9th of September, as we said, at 28 degrees and 8 feet, I guess it says, I don't know, in Aries. There's a chart here. It shows the significant aspect is the square to Saturn. That's the only significant thing that we have to worry about, which is good. At least there's not a lot of other things. But Mars square Saturn is applying or getting closer and is exactly going to happen on the 29th of September. So, brace yourselves. 19 days from now, like about 3 weeks during this retrograde phase. So 3 weeks from now. And it will stay within a 3-degree orb from August 15th through October 9th. I don't know what that means. 3-degree orb. I don't know what that means. Anyway, there's going to be a Mars orb. Mars square Saturn brings delays. So on the 29th of September, here we go. It brings delays, impatience, restrictions, frustration, and inhibition. Your desires and needs may grow stronger, yet you may find it harder to express your passions and succeed. The harder you pursue your goals, the more resistance you are likely to face. Authority figures may restrict your ambitions. Just hate those authority figures. It may be that general circumstances prevent your progress. The best approach now is a defensive one. Instead of starting new projects or hunting down your desires, it is better to concentrate on holding on to what you already have. This is a good time to sharpen knives. Oh, I don't think so. Are you kidding me right now? Why would he even give that suggestion? This is a time of anger and frustration where you're going to hate everyone in the world. This is a good time to sharpen your knives. Oh my God, fuck you, Astrology King. Just fuck you. Oh my God, a good time to sharpen your knives. I don't think he really means physical, little knives, but oh my God, I'm sure some people will be. Wonder how many people will be left standing after this. Oh, I shudder to think, and I'm not going to tempt 2020 by saying more about that. But okay, strengthen your defenses at this time. Patience and plodding hard work will actually get you there. Well, thank God for that. Mars retrograde stars. This is the next section. Although Mars retrograde occurs in the sign of Aries, there's an image here that shows Mars within the constellation of Pisces. Now, due to the precession of the equinoxes, the sun signs are almost a whole sign out of alignment with the constellations from which they were named over 2,000 years ago. So you can see that Mars aligns with the constellation Andromeda. Mars stationed retrograde exactly conjunct with the fixed star Vertex, never even heard of that one, which is actually, the Andromeda galaxy. Well, I do love the Andromedan people, the ones I've met anyway. Lovely human beings, or Andromedan beings, sorry. All right, well, check this out. Oh, fucking great. Fixed star Vertex causes blindness. Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me right now? Oh my God, I'm reading this for the first time. This is my literal reaction. Oh my God. Fixed star Vertex causes blindness, injuries to the eyes, sickness, and a violent death. No shit, Sherlock. You just told us to sharpen our fucking knives. Oh my God. Okay. It is the nature of Mars and the moon, adventurous, perfidious. Note to self, look up perfidious later. Insolent, wanton. Oh, I love wontons. Oh, that's not how he spells it. Wanton. W-A-N-T-O-N. Not like wontons the soup, but wanton. W-A-N-T-O-N. Brutal and danger to eyes. Well, damn. You know what? Stay inside, wear damn goggles, and don't get out of bed on the 29th of September. No, like, serious. I'm really, literally serious right now. If not well aspected, Vertex causes suffering from the sickness of neurosis, psychosis, or obsession, deep within from the past, personal, or the collective. Oh my God. So if you're clear on yourself, you might be, you know what? Zip up that electromagnetic shield right now, baby. Oh my God. Constellation Andromeda is said to bestow purity of thought, virtue, honor, and dignity upon its natives, but to cause battle with chimerical fears and a tendency to become easily discouraged. Well, I'm born under the year of the monkey as well. So we are easily confused and also very much discouraged quite easily, unfortunately. But okay, this also gives love between husband and wife and reconciles adulterers. Well, that's kind of good. I mean, it's ironic he's saying that because in the Andromeda galaxy, if you guys listened to last year in my show about going to Andromeda and living with the Andromedans, I mean, they have 4 people in a marriage. You know, they don't mess around. It's like 4 people in marriage, because if one person dies, there's still 3 people left. They find our system incredibly sad. You have 2 people in the marriage, one dies, one's left completely alone. And it's horrible. And it's unfathomable for them to think that that's how we do it. They're like, you have 4 people in the marriage. Now, it doesn't mean that everyone's having sex with each other. You could have 2 couples that marry each other so that they will always commit to being there for the others in case something goes wrong. That way it's very loving and very compassionate, and they have a very loving and amazing society because of it. So it's kind of funny he says that. Anyway, moving right along. Saturn is conjunct to the fixed star Terabellum, which gives fortune, but with regret and disgrace. Oh God, good God, what fresh hell is this? Regret and disgrace, but fortune, great. It is the nature of Venus and Saturn, which is cunning, bad morals, mercenary, repulsive habits, perverted tastes, unfortunate love affairs, and seduction. Huh. That's interesting. Makes me wonder what's going to happen politically to the candidates. All right, well, better them than me. All right, okay, 6 retrograde planets. 6 planets are in retrograde motion for 4 days from September 9th through the 12th. These retrograde planets are Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Holy moly! Now, once Jupiter stations direct on the 12th, then there will remain only 5 planets in retrograde, because, Jupiter will start going back direct on the 12th, until the 29th of September, when Saturn will then station direct. Oh, well, okay, so at least, while you're laying in bed, at least you could be really happy to know that the planet of limitation is now going forward again. Wait, is that good or not? Oh my God, I'm so confused. Ugh, that's why I can't be an astrologer. Stuff is confusing, but it's so interesting, right? Okay, so 5 planets in retrograde motion only happens 4% of the time. 6 planets in retrograde motion occurs only 0.7% of the time. So it's like less than a 1% chance for this crap to happen, and it happened this year during global pandemic year 2020. Oh my God. When 5 or more planets are retrograde at the same time, the world appears to slow down. You may attract energy at some imperceptible level, and it can feel like you're living in another dimension. Oh, yes, it can. You might feel like you're from another planet or another reality. So there is less inner uncertainty. You may experience feelings of isolation or of being different. Oh, yes, absolutely. More than 4 planets in retrograde motion also make it more difficult for people to understand each other. So it seems like there are more bad things that are happening in the world, more violence, psychological abuse. Oh God, I've been suffering that for weeks. Accidents, suicides, and death. Yeah, because the psychological abuse, right? Oh my God, understanding and compassion seem to be lacking at this time. Frickin' great. Oh, yeah. Wow. With the world slowing down, material events can act as blockages that allow you to develop internally and mature. This helps you to find reassurance within yourself. Yeah, where the hell else are you going to turn? To the guy sharpening his knives in the damn corner who's, insulting you with psychological abuse and threatening you with physical violence? I mean, come on. Of course you're going to turn to yourself right now. It's all you are all you have. Oh my God, it's making me paranoid. Mars Direct 2020. It happens on Friday the 13th. I swear to God, we live in the 9th circle of hell. That this is the damn astrology. Oh my God. It just gets better and better. Mars stationed direct on Friday, November 13th at 2020. Mars is no longer square Saturn. In fact, it makes no planetary aspects. But it is still in the fortunate constellation of Andromeda on the brightest star, which is the fixed star Alpheratz. I just feel like they're making these things up. What the hell? Alpheratz. Alpheratz is how they spell Alpheratz. And it gives independence and freedom, love and riches, and honor and a keen intellect. It also gives a harmonious nature which makes for popularity. Alpheratz is the nature of Jupiter and Venus. Contented, happy disposition, honorable, philosophical mind, legal or ecclesiastical preferment, and help through women. Mars conjunct Alpheratz means sharp mind, energetic, business success through your own endeavors. Oh, well, that sounds marvelous. I mean, can we just skip ahead to that? Oh my God. All right. So there we go. And so Mars is retrograde from yesterday until November 13th, which is a Friday, 2020. And then the next time Mars goes retrograde is in 2022, the day before Halloween. Great, right? And that happens until January 12th, 2023, when Mars will be in Gemini. So there you go. Oh my God. That is our astrologyking.com forecast for what the hell is happening in the sky. Oh my God. Woo, it's a doozy, isn't it? It is a absolute doozy. Let's go over to spaceweather.com because they have updated their website, which is lovely. The current solar wind speed is 291.1 kilometers per second. A couple hours ago it was 303. So it is in the direction of slowing down right now. So it's not too much right now. We do not have a sunspot yet. So we have had 20 days without a current sunspot. Ulu neutron counts. Oh, it's gone up again. It's gone up by 0.3%, and we're still at a very high level of cosmic radiation. So get your electromagnetic suits on. Just do what I told you. Just pull it on up like a big pair of pants, and pull it over your head like it's a sub-freezing Arctic sleeping bag. All right. We don't have any more updates on the northern corona hole. Looks like a southern one is starting to form because I'm looking at a picture of the sun right now. And it's going to reach us, this solar wind, on the 14th of September. Nothing's changed there. We already knew that was coming. So in 4 days, which makes it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. On Monday, yay, we get to start our week with a bunch of solar wind, and that might leave us with a lot of tinnitus and foggy headedness, mental instability, which just kind of goes along with 2020, frankly. So, all right, there we go. It's one time. I wish I had 2020 eyesight, but I don't want to doom that. I don't want to curse that accidentally. Oh my God. All right. Let's see. On September 10th, 2020, the network of the NASA All-Sky cameras and the All-Sky Fireball Network reported 13. Here we go with that number again, 13. Number of death and transformation. 13 fireballs. 10 were sporadics. 3 were September Epsilon Perseids. So there you have it. Let's see here. I think that's all she wrote as far as space weather news is concerned. The HeartMath Institute is still down. They, like I said before, we got to send some love and light and fire. Fires are raging throughout all of California right now. San Francisco turned orange, as I reported yesterday. Many news agencies are reporting that today. I'm scared. I wrote to my oldest. She hasn't written back yet. She barely ever even opens up Facebook, let alone answers back. But, I mean, it's like raining ash like snow over there. So let's send a bunch of rain to California and just imagine the fires. The winds are died down. The rain is coming. everything is okay. I mean, I have 3 firefighters over there. I broke out into tears last night. You know, one of my ex-lovers that, oh God, he was the most amazing person. We were together like about 6 months or something, but we stayed friends for years after we stopped seeing each other. And he wanted to marry me, and I was just like, I'm just coming off a divorce, ask me in a few years. And he did, but I was already living in South America, and I'm like, oh man, such a bummer, because he's such a cutie. But anyway, he's a firefighter, and he's up in Shasta County, and my cousin's husband, George, he is a firefighter in Los Angeles, and my ex-boyfriend, Tony, his son, Sebastian, is a firefighter in, where all the fires are. Like, I think he's like in the Oroville area, and they just evacuated the whole city yesterday, and Berry Creek, and oh my God, it's absolutely nuts over there. So I just broke down in tears. I just was like, what if people I know are in the fire's path again? And they are, and it just made me cry. I was just like, these 3 firefighters that I know, and all these fires are not normal fires, they're like, they're burning so hot and so fast, and they're spreading so rapidly that it's like you just can't even keep up with it, and I just broke down, and I just cried for a couple hours yesterday about it. It just sent love and light and prayers, not only to my friends who are firefighters, but also to all of the firefighters, because oh my God, they're the first response, they're the first responders, and now this is what they have to frickin' respond to in a moment when Mars went retrograde. It's like, and when people are violent, they're not going to cooperate, and people are crazy right now. It's like crazy. It's all nuts. Anyway, let's get over to the Schumann Resonance News on disclosurenews.it. Schumann Resonance today, they had 3 peaks, like pillars, and it's looking kind of strange the way that it's coming across on the machine here, but 37 hertz frequency, and then 40 hertz frequency, followed by 68 hertz frequency. So that's good. It's getting a little bit back up there. We like it when it's getting really high up there, because 40 is 5th dimension. We're all trying to we are in the 5th dimension already. We're trying to raise our energy so high that it looks like the 68 was for like about an hour, which is good. But we just need our energies and vibrations so high just to deal with some of these crazy, dense, and dark energies, and the astrology and everything that's happening. It's been very crazy. So, all right, let's see here. Where are we? Chrome. Oh my God, I can't believe I just did what I just did. All right, here we go. I lost what I was going to do next. All right, what shall she do next? All right. All right, well, before we get into what the show's about, I got out the Literary Witches Oracle. We're going to try it again. Last time, I'm like, oh yeah, here it is. Here's a card in Sylvia Plath's Darkness. Wait, what? It dawned on me, there's no way, there's no book that came with this, even though it was supposed to. And there's like nothing. And when I asked God, hey, send an angel to pull out the card, Archangel Michael, 3rd day in a row, he came and he plucked out 2 cards. And I'm like, are they both the same? Are they both? And he said, yep. And I said, okay, great. So we're going to read a poem from the woman who we plucked out. God rest her soul. She passed in 2004. She was born in 1924. So she had a long, ripe life over there in New Zealand. And the card we got was Janet Frame. And it says, belonging. So this is a collective card for the day. Janet Frame, belonging. When I first saw this is a really crazy looking card. It looked like a psychopathic woman holding an eel while standing in a vat of tar with fires leaping up like she's standing in hell. This is my personal interpretation, right? And then there's a bunch of fairies and butterflies and fireflies surrounding her in a big halo. and she's smiling like a psychopath. So I'm thinking the art isn't so good because I looked her up and she looks like the sweetest old lady. So I wanted to reframe the artwork that I see in this card. Okay, so maybe it's a woman standing in a lake catching a fish with her bare hand. And maybe it's not an eel at all. And she feels like she's belonging to all of nature. She is one with all of nature. And maybe that's not fire leaping up, but rather probably grass, New Zealand vegetation, as it were. And of course, with the fairies and the butterflies and the fireflies all around her like a halo while she smiles triumphantly, having had caught the fish in her hand. Okay, there's a lesson in how you can look at something negatively and positively, look at something with darkness inside you, look at something with lightness inside you. I just did both. Hence balance, yin and yang, yo. Okay, now I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because we are going to get into Chinese medicine today. We're going to have a Chinese medicine talk. I found some cool things on a website, and then I found another website, and oh my God, I'm so excited about this Chinese thing. Okay, I almost wanted to do it yesterday. I was so excited about it. So, all right, the second card that I pulled, it came out with Janet Frame, belonging. Oh, and by the way, frame. Frame and reframe things. Always try to frame things. If you see something in a bad light, try to reframe it in a good light and see what happens. You're going to find out a lot about yourself and about the other person and about the situation, because remember what it says in the Kabbalion by 3 initiates. Every truth is a half-truth. All right, so the second thing that came up was teacup. So belonging and teacup are 2 words for the day. I don't know how to interpret it. If any one of you has the Literary Witches Oracle that actually came with the guide, that would be helpful, because I have no idea what these cards mean other than what we can, read into it ourselves. So Janet Frame, belonging. I think that's being one with all of nature. And teacup, having nature come to you in a teacup. You grab a cup of tea. You are drinking literally plants soaked in water, 2 things that come from nature, and you're putting it all inside you and becoming one with that energy. And then thus you are belonging to the whole, the all of the all, the nature part of the all. And as a special love and tribute to Janet Frame, because I felt like I was caught with my pants down at the Sylvia Plath thing, so we're not going to do that again. I am going to read to you guys a poem by Janet Frame. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her. So where are we here? Janet, where did you go? All right. Wasn't even on that tab. I have too many tabs open. This is ridiculous. Here we go. All right. Well, first of all, we're going to actually, let me just go into who she is, and then you can enjoy the poem a little more. All right. So, Janet Frame was born in 1924, and she died in 2004, and she looks like the sweetest little lady ever. She just got such a big, huge, beaming smile that went across her whole face. I guess it's hard to, for this artist to have captured it. I mean, she does look like a psycho in this card. You're going to see it. I'm going to post these cards up on my Instagram, which is at mermaidgirl888, a little bit later today when I'm finished with the show. Anyway, Janet Frame earned international acclaim as a novelist when she was living as a Kiwi expat in London in the early 1960s. Oh, so cool. But poetry was always her first love. Remember what I was telling you yesterday? You might find your way into something similar to what you want to do, and then eventually you come back around to your intuition of what you should have been doing all along. So here's another example of that. Anyway, although she only published 1 volume of poems in her lifetime, which is called The Pocket Mirror, published the year before I was born, 1967, she incorporated poetry into her prose works. Yeah, you're always going to sneak it in a little bit, right? So after her death, the Goose bath or poems called The Goose Bath that was published in 2006 won the poetry category at the Montana, New Zealand Book Awards in 2007. And like so many of her other works, fiction, nonfiction, and poetry, it was a bestseller. The charitable trust that she founded, called the Janet Frame Literary Trust, has given more than $100,000 in grants to New Zealand authors. And if you want to see more about that, if you happen to be, because I do have some Kiwis that listen to the show, and it's always been in my heart to go to New Zealand. Someday I will get there. But you can see this information, if you are an author, at janetframe.org.nz for New Zealand, of course. And now, without further ado, guys, I'm going to read to you a poem by Janet Frame. We haven't had a poetry night in a long time, and we're still not having a poetry night. We're just going to read one little poem. When the sun shines, more years than fear. When the sun shines, more years than fear. When birds fly, more miles than anger. When sky holds more bird, sails more cloud, shines more sun, then the palm of love carries hate. Even then shall I in this weary 70-year banquet say, sun waiter, bird waiter, sky waiter, I have no hunger. Remove my plate. Aw, it's kind of sad, especially since she died. And all right, sorry, hope it bum you out. Anyway, Janet Frame is our literary witch of the day, the literary witch's oracle and teacup. Whatever the hell that means, it's just so strange. But I think I interpreted it okay. You might have your own interpretation of it. And if you do, if you came up with something other than what I came up with, please, by all means, put it in the comment section when I get this posted so that everybody else can take a gander at your words as well. So, well, that's it for right now. I'm going to take a quick break, guys. I think that's quite enough for now. Let's just take a minute. You can listen to my one commercial. And when we come back, we are going to talk about, the 7 emotions and the 6 evils and a few other things, Chinese medicine-wise. I love Chinese medicine. It's been around for thousands of years, and it's incredible. Even though it sounds completely crazy at first, when you understand what the meaning behind the words are, it actually makes a lot of sense. And we're going to get into that in just a couple minutes, right after this message. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. All right, guys, we're going to talk about TCM tonight, traditional Chinese medicine. And I've had a lot of experience myself with traditional Chinese medicine. When I lived in Santa Barbara years and years ago, in my 20s, I was actually really sick when I was growing up with asthma, and I had like chronic, this is embarrassing, but chronic constipation where I would literally use the bathroom for number 2 one time a month, one day per month. And nobody seemed to care about me really. Like my parents didn't really ask, and I was just like one day a month was I in the bathroom, so they were happy I was hardly ever in the bathroom. It's just like when you have one bathroom and 4 people, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I grew up in an abusive household, so that might have played a factor, obviously. But, the medicine I was taking, the traditional Western medicine I was taking, was just really, really bad. Really, really bad for me. And just, I was very sickly. My whole childhood. I would be stuck at home for 3 to 4 weeks with earaches that would just, perpetual earaches that would never go away. I mean, I remember one year I missed 78 days in school for a 9-month school year. And they almost had to hold me back because I was sick all the time. I had to take this weird chalky medicine when I was a little kid before inhalers were invented. I remember when Primatene Mist was over the counter, people were like, ooh, Primatene Mist, such a big deal. And it's like so bad, they had to take it off the shelf because people were having heart attacks from this medicine that my parents gave me when I was like 7 and 8 years old because, oh my God, brand new medicine, it's going to help you with your asthma. I mean, my life was kind of crazy from a medical standpoint, growing up. I lived on a block where everyone went to the same ear doctor, and a couple of the kids, actually about 4 or 5 of the kids, got eustachian tube replacement. Like suddenly everybody had swimmer's ear, and suddenly, let's just give this operation to all the kids in the neighborhood. And my parents said, there's something fishy. I don't think this is right. So they found a doctor that would, of course, not recommend the surgery. So yay, they don't have to pay for my surgery, right? Which maybe I needed it. I don't know. But I always had problems with allergies, asthma, the whole 9 yards. So by the time I became an adult, I really, really needed help. And I started looking into alternative treatments because obviously if the medicine I'd been given was so bad that it almost killed me and nothing was curing me, nothing was helping at all, I might as well look into other, things. And so when I moved to California I was living in Minnesota and then North Dakota, and then we moved to California, my boyfriend and I at the time. And, he started saying, let's look into Chinese medicine. What's Chinese medicine? It sounds interesting. So I started going to massage therapists, and then I had a colonic therapist where I get colonics, which really helped my body. And then I went to someone else who gave me herbs, and then I went to the Chinese doctor, traditional Chinese medicine school. And this was the Oriental College of Medicine in Santa Barbara, which is very good, very, very good school. So I did all this, and I mean, every week I was in there getting acupuncture. And I had been having a headache. I was having migraines, obviously. I mean, being that full of shit, literally, you're going to be, with a lot of migraine headaches. And thank God none of this all this has been resolved, most of it, except for allergies and asthma that I still have. So I'm still working on some of this stuff. But, so anyway, I worked and I started working out and I got in really good shape. And I did everything, but I went to acupuncture where they put needles in your meridians. And I did that for a couple years. And I would have migraines, and my migraines were so bad before I went to that TCM school, for treatments, because I was having students work on me with the professors. They would work in tandem so that I was helping the students, which made me feel good too. Because woohoo, helping other people get an education for me is awesome. So, and probably for you guys too, right? It's pretty cool. Beauty school, I used to get my hair done at the beauty school, which is pretty cool. Sometimes they botch the color a bit, but overall it was actually pretty cool because it made them happy, that they have clients to work on. It's actually real world experience. So I've always loved doing that. Plus it's cheap, and plus I'm the queen of deals. So it all kind of works out. But I had really bad migraine headaches. So bad that I would lay down for 4 hours, and I couldn't move. And if I move even one muscle, I would have to race to the bathroom for the projectile vomiting, which followed. And that's how sick I was. For so long. It was really bad. And I would get these migraine headaches once a month, sometimes twice a month. And sometimes I would get them where they would last. In the springtime, when the allergies came, I would get migraine headaches that would last 3.5 weeks. And one time I was in the middle of one of these horrible migraines, and I called my doctor and I left him a message in the morning, and in the afternoon he still hadn't gotten back to me. So I called in the afternoon and I said, it's very, very important. I'm really scared. I have this really horrible migraine headache and I don't know what to do about it. And I really need help. I need a prescription and I don't know what to do. And I just want to talk to him about it before I come in because I could barely move. I'm projectile vomiting. I don't know what to do. And the lady was so mean to me on the phone. And she's like, he already knows about your problem and he'll call you when he can. And I'm like, I've already been waiting 8 hours, right? And I'm scared, why didn't he call me back within 2 or 3 hours, which for me would have been reasonable. And so she got really mad and she told him that I was really mean and testy with her, which I might have been a little bit venomous, because I could barely freaking move. I couldn't go to school. I couldn't work. And I was really scared. I had had a headache for 3.5 weeks and I couldn't move. And I was really scared. And I finally, after 3.5 weeks, called him and I'm like, hey, and he finally got back to me and he said, don't bother ever coming to my office again because you were really rude to the lady. And I'm like, I'm scared to death. I don't know what to do. And I told him the situation. And he's like, just take a freaking aspirin. I go, oh, gee, for 3.5 weeks, you think I didn't think about that? Obviously, I've taken aspirin. I've taken Tylenol. I don't know what else to do. And he did not bother to even prescribe me even like a opioid, and I'm like, you know what? I was just tired, and he told me don't ever come back. And I'm like, wow, I might be dying, and if I do die, my boyfriend's going to sue you for malpractice because, obviously, you should care about all your patients, right? And it was horrible because he was such a nice doctor before, and I guess he had that one bad day. I think he actually apologized to me a week later, but I was just I don't know what to do. This keeps happening. It keeps happening. And later that day I asked God, send me an angel to show me what to do. And I smelled red licorice and peppermint, New York peppermint patties. And that cured it, but it still wasn't, they were still happening. I was still having, they cured for the day. And that became my cure for many, many years. So peppermint essential oil basically is in that candy. And then the hard chewing, which released the muscles in my jaw, right? So I'm like, well, there's got to be another way. Eating candy can't be the remedy, right? But it was my remedy, a really insane remedy, but it worked. You know, red rope licorice from the American Licorice Company, not Twizzlers. They didn't work. But but that was it. I'm like, there it is, right? So anyway, I went to an acupuncturist, and all of a sudden, within like a month of going to treatments a couple times a week, all of a sudden I didn't have migraines, like maybe but once a year instead of once every month. And everything started flowing. I mean, for real, like all the way through my body, everything was really good suddenly out of nowhere. And so I really started to believe in traditional Chinese medicine. And I've always believed in naturopathic medicine over, you know, except for the fact that I take my inhalers from Western medicine. And when I broke my leg, obviously, you know, I got surgery from Western medical doctors. I haven't really looked back as far as the rest of it. I've just been like, you know, aromatherapy, holistic, herbal healing, the whole 9 yards. So I wanted to get into it today and just read to you guys some stuff, because today, a few days ago, I was reading up on this herbal patch that I ordered from China, and I'll let you know how it goes, but it was to take out the inflammation in the body. And I looked at the symptoms that these herbs will cure, and I was like, holy crap, I have every single symptom on your damn list, right? And it said that I have the evil dampness, or dampness evil. And I'm like, what the hell is dampness evil? So I just got really super curious, because like all these pictures were like, you know, picture of like a patch over the tummy, and there was like this weird ball, like herbal ball that goes inside the belly button. And I'm like, this is freaking weird. I have to order this. It was only like $5. So I'm like, I have to see what the hell this is, right? It turns out it's like honey and red pepper and 2 other herbs. And you just put it and you wear it for 12 hours and it will draw out the dampness, meaning all the water weight. And I'm like, oh my God. Western medicine gave me, for my angioedema, they only gave me pills that actually damage the kidneys. And then in time you have to go to stronger and stronger and stronger pills that will eventually lead me to dialysis and losing a kidney and have to get a kidney replacement. So obviously that's a dead fucking end. So literally, it would kill me. So I stopped taking those medicines, actually. And so I'd rather just carry another 20, 30 pounds of water weight and try to figure it out naturally than, die from their medicine, obviously. And I keep some on hand. I take Benadryl, sometimes helps me, with the water weight. So I got this weird medicine, right? So we're going to see when it comes in the mail in like the next month or something on a slow boat from China. But I love Chinese medicine. It's always helped me. It's always been one of those really weird things that helps. So I wanted to read to you guys some things from this website, Shen Nong, SHEN-NONG.com, and they have some very interesting things about traditional Chinese medicine. So this is what they say: the holistic concept of Chinese medicine. Now, in Western medicine, a doctor looks for specific causes of diseases, and they focus on the particular body components to treat it. But in traditional Chinese medicine, they don't work this way. There are fundamental differences in the principles, diagnoses, and the treatment approaches between Western medicine and Chinese medicine. So ancient Chinese people believed that their existence was closely tied with the universe, where they were located in the center with the heavens above and the earth below. The concept of the universe was used to explain the laws of nature, and relationships were formed between the cosmos and humans. So, for example, the skin of the human body corresponded with the flat texture of the earth. The 5 internal organs correspond with the 5 elements of wood, fire, water, earth, and metal. And the eyes and the ears relate to the sun and the moon in the heavens. The world is harmonious and holistic, and it's an entity, and no single being or form can exist unless it was seen in relationship to the surrounding environment. Now, this concept became the basic idea of Taoism, which is a philosophy and a religious tradition in China. So Taoism did help shape the practice of Chinese medicine, which is based on the belief that everything is interdependent and mutually interactive in the universe. Man is part of a holistic entity and should be analyzed or interpreted with reference to the whole. So traditional Chinese medicine holistic concept includes the integrity of the body and its relationship with the outer world. So I want to say something really quick. When I was being taught on all my visits to Grandma Marion in Arizona, Reverend Marion Jones, and if you don't know anything about this, and a lot of you have written me and you're just brand new, just spiritually awakened in the past few months. One person wrote me that a year ago, Ryan from Ireland, he just wrote me today and he said, I just spiritually awoke last February, but I found you this year in February. And, the show makes him not feel as crazy. Like, when you start waking up to spiritual stuff, you're like, all these things happen and you can't discuss it with anyone because the people around you are sleeping. And you're like, oh my God, I feel so weird. But don't feel weird because it's all real, right? But, so for Ryan and for all the other people who are brand new to the show, and a lot of you have been, are brand new. So, I want to refer you back to my Grandma Marion episodes. Because last year I did the show every day, 7 days a week. I did 364 episodes in a row. And so the Grandma Marion episodes were on Saturdays. And I did it for about 2 months. Every Saturday, I had stories about Grandma Marion. And you think my life is wild. Her life was really wild. But she told me that growing up, Lao Tzu, who wrote the Tao Te Ching, which is the basis for Taoism in China, he was her spirit teacher, and she called him Lao Tzu because she was a little kid in West Virginia and couldn't say Lao Tzu, so she called him Lao Tzu. And but Lao Tzu or Lao Tzu was actually Jesus in his first in an incarnation before he was Jesus of Nazareth, or obviously Yeshua. So pretty crazy stuff. That he started 2 damn religions on this planet. But so you could go back and listen to those episodes because I'm sure you'll love them. But anyway, but so Taoism and all of those concepts come from the person that we know as Jesus, Yeshua. So I don't know. I mean, I look at this and it's just blown my mind because, hey, traditional Chinese medicine comes from Taoism, and Taoism comes from the spirit who was Jesus. So it makes me want to trust it a little bit more, actually, even though if you go to Wikipedia, they'll say this is quackery and a pseudoscience and there's no scientific basis for any of it. But modern medicine has done nothing but put me in a position where I get sicker and sicker and sicker. And Chinese medicine has put me in a position where I get better. So, I mean, it's like, I don't care if it's based on science or not at this point. What I do care about is not dying because of the medicine that kills you. Right? So, it's just the way I look at it. And in every different tradition has its place. I mean, you break your leg, you're not going to want to take Chinese herbs for it. You're going to want to get metal rods in your legs so you can walk again, right? So it's just, it is what it is. And I do have the metal rods to prove that. So anyway, the body systems are one integrated and balanced whole. So the body is an organic whole in traditional Chinese medicine, and the components are interconnected. They are dependent and restrict each other physiologically, and they influence each other pathologically. So the 5 organs act as the core functional units, and through the linking of the meridian systems, which is a complex set of interrelationships, and these are formed within the body. Now the meridian systems are like lines. If you could just draw lines straight up and down the body, and there's like 12 meridians. And we might get into this and do another show on this, discussing that later. So every part of the body has a special relationship with the 5 organs, and the 5 organs themselves are also interrelated as well. So, like, for example, the 5 organ systems of the body are the heart, the liver, the spleen, the lung, and the kidney. And they're paired. So, like, the heart is related to the small intestine, and the liver is related to the gallbladder, which makes sense because they're right there in the same area of the body. The spleen is related to the stomach. The lungs are related to the large intestines. Now remember what I told you, right, about my original problem, constipated and asthma, right? Lung and large intestine. So it's like funny when you look at it from what you already know what you're going through, and then you look at this and you're like, well, wait a minute, that totally makes sense. It's weird, but it makes sense, right? I don't know how the hell they came up with it, but it makes sense. So kidneys are with the bladder, which also makes sense because the kidneys filter, impurities from when you drink water or you eat food, filters the impurities and then releases it through the bladder. So of course they would be related, right? And so on and on and on. You can go to shennong.com in order to check this out more thoroughly. But so like there's so you have the organs, and then the paired organs, and then the dominated body tissues. So the heart is paired with the small intestine, but the dominated body tissue for the heart system is the blood vessels, obviously, because the heart is pumping, blood through the blood vessels. And then the openings on the head, I don't know what that means, it sounds weird, is the tongue. So the heart and the tongue are also connected. And then that's also connected to the face, which is the outer manifested region. So a lot of this sounds strange, but when you look at it, so like for example, lungs is connected to the large intestine, and the dominated body tissues is the skin. I also had acne really bad when I was young. And the openings on the head, the nose, well, also I'm having problems with my sinuses. Oh my God, it works so well. It actually makes sense. And then outer manifested region, body hair. I don't know what that means, but hairy legs or hair on your head, I don't know. It just, body hair. So, because actually head hair is related to the kidneys. So if you start to go bald, you might need more energy in your kidney region. So it's like very, very interesting. So you can look at this little chart. So furthermore, Qi or Qi is a vital energy. Blood and body fluids are the material basis for various body functions, and they flow through the body to facilitate all parts of the body working together and to ensure the unity and the harmony inside of the body. So, all right, let me see. I'm going to see how much time we have left so I can see what more I should get into. So I think, can I read this? This is kind of long. I wanted to get into this other thing, and I might come back to this part but there's a couple more things I wanted to get through that will help you right now. Oh wait, I was like going to another website. No, that's not what I wanted to do. So I got really interested in reading about, so there's like the 5 organ systems, they call it, and they're all related to all these other things. And then they have the 6 evils and the 7 emotions. And I think, metaphysical soul speak is about where science meets spirituality and having the holistic view of everything, right? So when I was reading this the other day, I was like, this is really wild stuff. And it's entertaining, but also it's educational. So what are the 6 evils? The 6 evils in Chinese medicine. This is what they need to fix in our bodies in order to make everything balanced and harmonious so that we're no longer sick, right? So there's 6 climatic evils so basically from the climate outside, from the weather. Go figure, weather can affect us. Obviously, right? Weather can totally affect us. But it's funny that, that traditional Chinese medicine notices this, but modern medicine just goes, oh, whatever, it's in your head. Yeah, it's in my head because it's a head cold, because it's cold outside, duh, right? It doesn't make any sense. Like modern medicine to me, just, oh, well, your sinus has nothing to do with your bowels, and your heart has nothing to do with your spleen. It's like, it's really, because the last time I checked, it was all in one body, right? There's got to be a connection when you have like 6 symptoms, but you go to a doctor in Western medicine and they say, well, you need 6 different doctors because you have 6 different issues and 6 different body parts. You go to a Chinese doctor and they go, well, it's this meridian and that meridian and this organ system, and so we're going to give you, like acupuncture, and we're going to show you the acupressure points we want you to rub over the next week. We're going to give you a moxa stick, and we're going to give you these herbs, and we're going to give you a patch of herbs, and that's it. We're going to send you on your merry way, and we're going to treat you for a month, and you come back, once or twice or 3 times a week for a month, and then guess what? You're healed at the end. I didn't have an appetite. I couldn't eat. I could barely eat for like my whole life, and I didn't have an appetite. I went to see an acupuncturist at the Oriental College of Medicine, and she cured me. I suddenly had an appetite for the first time in my whole life. I was like 23 before I had an appetite. Can you imagine going through your whole life without being hungry? Ever? I went to a modern doctor about that, and he said, yeah, well, when you get hungry, you eat. I'm like, it's not funny that I've never been hungry in 23 years. So that's odd, right? And he's like, yeah, well, you'll get hungry, you eat. It's like, no, I just told you, I don't get hungry. But in traditional Chinese medicine, that's really a sign. That's a symptom. And then they go, well, this meridian and that meridian, and then they just see the holistic view of it, right? It's very, very strange, but also very interesting and accurate. It's like a method to the madness of it. So what are the 6 evils? Wind, cold, summer heat, dampness, dryness, and fire. These are the 6 climatic or climate evils. So, and they have pathogenic features. So the pathogenic features of the 6 TCM evils are this. This is what they think. Okay, this is the way that they look at it. Evils enter through the openings of the body surface, alone or together. So your head is affected by wind, will affect your forehead. Fire will affect the back of your head. Heat, the top of your head. Damp heat, your upper spine where your neck meets your torso. Dampness can affect your lungs. Dryness can also affect your lungs, and cold can affect your stomach. So if you have like the cold evil, you can't digest your food, and it causes indigestion. And then wind and cold can affect your back, and wind, cold, dampness can affect your lower back. And then it says internal fire inside, and it says a buildup of evils inside the body can cause an increase in the internal heat or the fire, which in turn can cause the organs to malfunction or disease to occur. Now, obviously, it's not real fire. We're not talking spontaneous human combustion here, but it's like pretty crazy. When you think about it, how much sense it makes. Now, when I had a boyfriend in Peru, he was Peruvian, and he told me, well, the Latino people, baby, we all know, all of Latin America know that you can't ever be barefoot in a house, and you have to keep your back covered at all times when you have asthma. You have to wear it. And so he bought me these $40 flip-flops, which I still have. I've had them for 4 years, and they're like brand new still. They're excellent. Can't believe, I mean, even though he was a narcissist, he did some really nice things for me. But I wear these all over the house, and I wear socks too now because of what he told me. And I'm like, wow, it's funny. I stopped getting sick when I kept my back warm and wearing the shoes. And it just sounds crazy. And it was even in the TV show One Day at a Time, the grandmother was saying, you know how Latino people are. You know, we have to always keep our back warm. And I think it was also mentioned so this is like a tradition in the Latin cultures that you keep your back warm and you keep your, from Puerto Rico, from Cuba, from like all over. I've heard in various movies and TV shows about this. And I'm like, that's really funny because it seems like a very obvious observation, but in the United States, I never heard this once. I never ever heard this until I went to Peru, and then I started hearing it on One Day at a Time, and I heard it on Jane the Virgin, and I heard it on a bunch of different shows. I'm like, that's cool that at least the Latino people know what's going on, obviously, because it's true. And look at Chinese medicine is backing it up. So these are related to the seasons or the working environment. So for example, there's wind diseases in the spring, summer and heat diseases obviously in the summer, damp diseases in late summer and early autumn, and the dry diseases occur in autumn, and the cold diseases come, of course, in wintertime. So in addition, people who live for a long time in a damp environment tend to easily be attacked by the damp evil. See, I have the dampness evil, so that's the one I'm trying to remedy with what I just ordered. So, and those who work for a long time in a high temperature environment will tend to easily be attacked by dry heat evil or the fire evil. And all the evils can work alone or in combination of two more in attacking the body. Now, they don't think of actual devils entering your body. They just call it evil because, it's just a traditional way of looking at it from thousands of years ago, right? So it doesn't, when I say evil, it's not like actual demons attacking your organs or something. They're not, you don't have like a little tiny demon gnawing on your spleen or something. But it's just the way that they put it. It feels like an evil because it makes you sick, right? So all evils can work alone or in combination of the two when they're attacking the body. So you can have a syndrome like the common cold, which would be wind and cold combined type. Or you could have the damp heat diarrhea or the wind cold damp blockage are examples of medical problems caused by a combination of the evils. So in the course of causing disease, any one of the 6 evils can influence the others and can also transform into another kind of evil under certain conditions. So for example, the cold evil that enters the body interior can be transformed into the heat evil, and the long persisting summer heat with dampness can then be later transformed into the dryness evil. So the 6 climatic evils that enter the body and cause disease mostly will come through the spaces located between your skin and your muscle, or the openings like the nose and the mouth. So for this reason, they are also termed the 6 exogenous or outside evils. So like, for example, evil that is wind, the element is wood and it's caused in the spring. Cold evil is water and caused in the winter. Summer heat evil is caused by fire in summertime, and in the late summertime, the dampness evil is caused by the element of earth. Well, that's very interesting, since, magically, I have all the elements except earth. Even though I'm in my chart, astrology-wise, I'm very earthy, right? So it's funny. Maybe my astrology makes me prone to this, if you want to look at it holistically and metaphysically. All right. So, okay. Now, the evil that's called dryness is caused in the season of autumn, and the element is metal. So this stuff is so strange to me. It's strange, but it's really exciting because, it sounds weird, but once you realize all the herbs correspond and all the things happening in the body, and you could go, oh, okay, well, if it's a dampness evil, maybe light candles, right, to stop the dampness in your house. If it's a fire evil, maybe you have maybe like a fan on, right, or whatever. Now, I'm not telling you the remedies because I don't know them, but there are things that you can do in your own environment to fix it. Make sure, seriously, keep your back covered. You don't want to get sick. And keep your feet from touching the floor. You don't want your feet cold. You want to keep slippers or sandals, flip-flops in the summer, or definitely socks on at all times. You just don't want your feet cold, because that can cause asthma, allergies. It can make you more susceptible to disease. And guess what? When viruses come into your house, they're heavier than the regular air, and they drop down to the floor. And you're walking around barefoot, and then you get sweaty, the pores on your feet open, and then the viruses can come up through your feet. So there's something to that. Actually, there's a scientific reason why you don't want to walk around barefoot. Ever. Like, for any reason. Anywhere. You can even get parasites involved in your feet at the beach. I don't want to freak anyone out, but my friend's mom went into the bathroom at the beach and changed clothes, and she was walking around barefoot, and she got like a weird, like a worm kind of parasite. She didn't know, she stepped on it and it went inside her foot. Wear your flip-flops, wear your shoes. Do not wear your shoes, man. Kind of freaks me out. As a Virgo, it just freaks me out. I'm always like covering my feet, So the 6 evils do not affect every person in the same way. Indeed, exceptionally healthy persons are not adversely affected by any of the evils, okay? But when you have an evil excess, it will attack the body only when and where it is weak, and only when the protective ki or chi is deficient somewhere in the surface of the body. So one of the purposes of preventative medicine is to keep the body resistant to the outside attacks. So diseases in the 6 evils are most likely to occur when you have abnormal weather conditions, which many people have the sudden drop of temperature lately, and if it's damp, you might have the damp evil or the cold evil, like in Colorado, where the temperatures just dropped rapidly. So keep in mind that, Chinese medicine might save us all. So sudden cold spells in midsummer. Oh my God, did I not just say this 1 second ago? Oh my God, I didn't see the sentence until now. For example, will often cause epidemics of influenza, and people who travel or move from a cold, dry place to a warm, damp climate are more vulnerable then to invasion by local meteorological excesses than native people of the region. So plague was a major problem during the ancient times, and traditional Chinese medicine learned about epidemic diseases early on, and pestilential evils are blamed for it. And the pestilential evil is a kind of pathogenic factor with intense ineffectivity. Attacks of pestilential evils, it sounds like super biblical, right, are usually related to unusual climates, such as when you're having a drought or floods or extreme heat, as well as pollution. So epidemics occur suddenly with severe symptoms and are highly contagious, and that's when you have a sudden change in the weather, right? So that's a very interesting thing to look at. Now there's something else. There's the 7 emotions. Let's see. The 6 evils and the 7 emotions. Whoops. Okay, so the 7 emotions, this is interesting even more, okay? Let's see, hopefully I have enough time to get through this, like 20 minutes, so we'll see. We'll try to book through it. So what are the 7 emotions? So according to the Book of Plain Questions by Suwin, Suwin says the 5 yin organs of the human body produce 5 kinds of essential ki or chi, which brings forth your joy, anger, grief, worry, and fear. And traditional Chinese medicine believes certain organs are related to emotional activities. So the heart is related to joy. The liver is related to anger. The spleen is related to pensiveness, so overthinking. And the lungs to anxiety. And the kidneys to fear. So you see how this is getting really spiritual really quick, right? The emotions are considered the major internal causes of disease in traditional Chinese medicine. So remember now, the evils are the exogenous. They're the external causes of disease. Now the internal cause of disease is having an excess of emotions when they're out of balance. So I want you guys to keep this in mind, knowing the horrible astrology for this month. Oh my God. And all the other stuff that's going on with all the fires in California and the sudden drop of temperatures in the northern hemisphere of the planet. Just keep all this stuff in mind. All right. So emotional activity is seen as normal, and its internal physiological response to stimuli from the external environment. Within normal limits, emotions cause no disease or weakness in the body. However, when emotions become so powerful that they become uncontrollable and they overwhelm or they possess a person, then they can cause serious injury to the internal organs and open the doorway to disease. It's not the intensity as much as the prolonged duration or an extreme emotion which causes the damage. Now, Western physicians tend to stress the psychological aspects of psychosomatic ailments. The pathological damage to the internal organs is very real indeed, and is a primary concern in traditional Chinese medicine practitioners. So excess emotional activity causes severe yin-yang energy imbalances. Wild aberrations in the flow of blood, qi, or the vital energy will block the meridians and impair vital organ functions. Once a physical damage has begun, it's insufficient to eliminate the offending emotion to effect a cure. The prolonged emotional stress will require physical action as well. The emotions represent different human reactions to certain stimuli, and they do not cause disease under normal conditions. So the pathogenic features of the 7 emotions are this. They can directly impair the organ qi, the vital energy. They can affect the functions of the organ qi, which is the vital energy, and deteriorating effects of emotional instability. So remember, the 7 emotions in TCM: joy, anger, anxiety, pensiveness, grief, fear, and fright. So again, checking where are we at here. All right. Okay, so joy. Now, when you're excessively joyful, the spirit will scatter and it can no longer be stored, according to Ling Shu, who wrote The Vital Axis. However, in TCM, joy refers to states of agitation or overexcitement rather than the more passive notion of deep contentment. The organ that is, of course, most affected is the heart. Overstimulation can lead to problems of heart fire connected with such symptoms as feelings of agitation which leads to heart palpitations and insomnia. See, this is also tied into ascension symptoms, right? This is going to become more clear why I'm bringing this up as we go along. Okay, so anger is the next one. Anger, as described by TCM, covers the full range of associated emotions, which include resentment, irritability, and frustration. An excess of rich blood makes one prone to anger, and anger affects the liver that results in stagnation of the liver chi, or vital energy. This can lead to liver energy rising up to the head, which can result in headaches, dizziness, and other symptoms. In the long run, it can result in high blood pressure and can cause problems with the stomach and the spleen. It is commonly observed that ruddy, full-blooded people that have flushed faces are more prone to others to sudden fits of rage at the slightest provocation. Very interesting, right? Now, anxiety. This is when one feels anxiety, the vital energy or the chi is blocked and it can't move. Anxiety injures the lungs, which control the chi through breathing, and common symptoms of extreme anxiety are retention of breath, shallow and irregular breathing. The shortage of breath experienced during periods of anxiety is common to everyone. Anxiety also injures the lungs' coupled organ, which is the large intestine. So, for example, if you're an over-anxious person, you might be prone to ulcerative colitis. Pensiveness. Yeah, I'm going to check where are we at. Okay. Pensiveness. In TCM, pensiveness or concentration is considered to be the result of thinking too much or excessive mental intellectual stimulation. Any activity that involves a lot of mental effort will run the risk of causing disharmony. The organ most directly at risk is the spleen, because this can lead to a deficiency of spleen chi, in turn causes worry and results in fatigue, lethargy, and the inability to concentrate. That's what happened to me recently when I was studying in the university classes I'm taking, and I was just doing too much, and I had to take a week off because I was like fatigued. I was absolutely exhausted for a week. So grief, the lungs are more directly involved with this emotion. A normal, healthy expression of grief can be expressed as sobbing that originates in the depths of the lungs, deep breaths and expulsion of air with the sob. However, grief that remains unresolved and becomes chronic creates disharmony in the lungs, weakening the lung chi or the vital energy of the lungs. And this, of course, in turn, interferes with the lungs' function of circulating the vital energy around the body. So you start to lose chi in your entire body when you have grief, too much that's unexpressed. Fear is a normal and adaptive human emotion. So this is the next one, fear. But when it comes chronic and when the perceived cause of the fear cannot be directly addressed, then this is likely to lead to disharmony. The organs most at risk are the kidneys with fear. So in cases of extreme fright, the kidney's ability to hold chi might be impaired, leading to involuntary urination, which is a particular problem that happens with children. So fright. Fright is another emotion not specifically related to only one organ. It is distinguished from fear by its sudden, unexpected nature. Fright primarily affects the heart, especially in the initial stages, but if it's allowed to persist for some time, it does become conscious fear, and then it moves over to the kidneys, which is what we already discussed. So that's very strange, right? So excess of certain emotions will affect a particular yang, Y-A-N-G, organ. So joy is related to the heart. Fear, which is, or fright, is related to the kidneys. Grief and anxiety related to the lungs. Pensiveness related to the spleen. And anger to the liver. So that's all I'm going to go through right now, because we'll run out of time if we go through the other thing. So I just want to bring that up. I just thought, how strange and interesting. Now, last year I did an episode called Body Syndromes, which was observations made by the doctor who created Hypnosis Motivational Institute, and I learned directly from him. And I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and I did get my degree from there. And even had a private practice for years in Grass Valley, California. And even for a while I had a practice over the phone. So, I mean, if any of you really needs help or past life regressions, I could still do it, as long as we have a decent internet connection, which actually right now it seems to be pretty stable. But I haven't even thrown that one out there at all, guys. And but I can do it. I could hypnotize you over the phone, possibly over Skype. I haven't done it over Skype, funny enough, but you could do it, especially in this day and age of pandemic. We're gonna have to do everything over the phone for a while. But so yeah, Dr. John Kappas started Hypnosis Motivational Institute, and he came up with body syndromes. He started realizing, he studied it from other traditions, but he kind of came up with his own, like fight syndrome. If you're having any problem with your shoulders on down to your hands, means you want to fight, but you can't. And so you have issues like with carpal tunnel or with, tennis elbow, for example. And flight syndrome is what in your legs, when you want to run away, you want to escape, but you can't. So you suddenly, from your hips on down, you get pain or arthritis in your knees, your feet. You can't really run away. And unexpressed grief in the lungs. He did mention that. Notice that. Asthma and allergies. It's when you are grieving. So he calls that crying syndrome. That you want to cry, but you can't. You keep holding it in, and then it results in a physical manifestation. And that's like all the way. Crying syndromes is your head and your lungs. If you have anything in your head and lungs, that's unexpressed grief. That's crying syndrome. And anything in your stomach is guilt or sexual guilt, frustration or sexual frustration, and that's all combined in the stomach, gut, organs. That was Dr. Kappas's body syndrome. So it's very similar. It's not the same, but it's very similar. And it's really good to look at all the different things. I mean, because what if you don't know a certain emotion that you're having, and you have a tendency of not really paying attention to your emotions because you didn't grow up in a way in which you were taught to pay attention. So if you have like a physical ailment, it's because you allowed an emotion to go too far and get excessive. So suddenly you're having this issue and you're like, oh my gosh, like where'd the tennis elbow come from? I don't even play tennis. Maybe because you're angry. You want to fight, but you can't. And you feel helpless, Just like we do with chakras, it's always emotions and related to different body things. So, survival, that's the first chakra, and identity is your third chakra. And, so when you look at the different modalities, TCM is a really good one to kind of diagnose, what's physically going on with you, but you can also look at your emotions. And if you can, from the emotional point, start to heal the emotions of it, it might lessen the physical symptoms. But once it gets physical, you've got to do something more, like, herbs or acupuncture. Or there's various things. Acupressure can work too. Just remember when we talked about acupressure for the feet a few weeks ago. That can help too. Anyway, that's it for now. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode of Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast. I enjoyed bringing this information to you because it's strange and unusual, but it's very metaphysical. It's very tied into who you are, and this can help you work on your shadow side. This can help you bring up the emotions and be okay with it. Like if you realize, if you have asthma, don't be embarrassed because you haven't cried about something. Just cry. Just allow yourself. Because it's healthy. The asthma will go away, or at least get better, if you can express that grief. Like, I don't know, you guys can tell I'm like sneezing, and I'm like, my nose is sniffling, and I have wheezes when I'm talking. I mean, I have had so many deaths. I have lost so many people in the past 10 years that it's, I haven't been able to grieve all of it. My uncle just died last month, my favorite uncle. And he left me money. I can't believe he actually named me in his will. Not a lot of money, It'll pull me through maybe 6 months, of my life, Maybe I could buy a used car, It's not that much money, but the fact that he thought of me it's just making me, like, it made me cry. I was like, oh my gosh, so sweet, right? But and he put me in his will right after my father died. So, because my father was not in the will, and that's how I know. And then I saw the date of the will. I'm like, oh my God, it was like literally a year after my dad died. He put my brother and I in the will. Of all the kids, we're the only ones in the will. And it really made me cry. I was like, oh, it's because my dad died. But yeah, I've had a lot of deaths, and so that unexpressed grief. And I'm telling you guys, and I'm being very authentic and vulnerable, because if I tell you and now you realize you're not the only one, you're not alone. If you're going through similar things, you could go, well, God, no wonder, my asthma is bad, and I'm having problems with my intestines, and oh my God, what the hell? Like, a lot of it is all tied together. It's tied to the weather, the environment, and your emotions. So you got to look at everything holistically so that you can heal. And I still have things I'm working on trying to heal, and I'm getting this dampness, evil medicine ball to shove into my belly button. And I'm going to let you guys know how it works. But anyway, there are remedies, and we can fix everything. We can heal everything, and everything's going to be okay. So anyway, I love you guys so much. I cannot have a podcast alone. I need listeners. So thank you for those of you who have been listening for a long time, and those of you who are new. I hope that you would like to stay on and listen. Every day is different. Every day is totally different, unique, and original. So tomorrow I'll be back with the same, but unique and original programming, just like always. And I do want to say thank you to those of you who have forwarded my information to, mention me as part of your stories in Instagram, or you've tweeted about me. Anchor.fm/metaphysical is my direct link to my podcast. This is the only way you're going to be absolutely assured of having access to every single episode, because apparently, yesterday was 175 episodes for season 2, and season 1 had 364 episodes. And when I look on, my distributor has not been distributing things correctly, so there's several gaps missing in my episodes on my YouTube channel, which is also Metaphysical Soul Speak, and also even on iTunes. I noticed that, I think episode 151 of this year is missing, and it's like, that's odd. Why is it missing? Maybe it's a couple minutes over 2 hours. Maybe that's the issue. They have a cutoff. I don't know what it is. But Anchor.fm/metaphysical is the only way you can hear the whole show. So Thank you for forwarding my information to all of your Facebook groups, all the spiritual Facebook groups, the tarot readers and the people who are interested in channeling and UFOs and extraterrestrials and all that, because I can't, when I post, they delete me from the group because I'm self-promoting. So if you guys want to help me promote me, yay. I want to thank you for those of you who are doing that. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow, guys. I love you so much. Thank you for listening. And I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the Holy Fifth Dimension. Until next time, guys, peace. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.